Welcome to this deep dive. Today we're tackling something incredibly challenging. It's customized for a listener, really for anyone, facing circumstances that seem, well, almost impossible to overcome. Unchangeable situations.
Yeah, the listener asks this really powerful question. How can I possibly create success, create opportunity when my options feel completely blocked? It's a heavy starting point.
It really is. And our source material today is grounded in Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, a classic, but we're looking at it through this very specific, very high stakes lens.
Exactly. And the core claim from the material we're examining is pretty radical. It argues that success, happiness, even sadness, they're fundamentally choices. And it promises to reveal the single strongest habit that can change, well, almost everything, like 99% of your life.
And this isn't just theory. The discussion was directly sparked by a listener identified as a Nazi, a displaced person currently living in a tent. His actual question was, tell me, how can I create my opportunity in these circumstances?
Right. So we're not talking about optimizing your morning routine in a comfortable office. We're talking survival, finding a path forward from essentially ground zero.
So where do we start? The source material, drawing on Covey, immediately divides our world, right?
It does. It sets up this crucial dichotomy.
Yeah.
Two spheres that govern our lives. First, there's the circle of concern. This is everything we worry about, everything that affects us, but that we can't directly change.
Like the listener's situation, being displaced, living in a tent?
Precisely. The source lists things like that: forced displacement, poverty, chronic illness, a severe physical disability like paralysis or blindness. These are heavy external conditions. You can't just decide not to be displaced.
Makes sense. That's the stuff that feels overwhelming, the stuff that often consumes all our attention. But then there's the other circle.
Yes, the circle of influence. This is much smaller, usually, but it's where all our power lies. This contains the things we can actually control, things we can impact through our own choices and actions.
Okay, so what falls into that circle, according to the material?
Things like your education, what you choose to learn, your self-development efforts, building your physical strength, if possible, and crucially, learning specific practical crafts or skills. These are internal assets you build.
Got it. Concern is external, uncontrollable. Influence is internal, controllable.
And here's the absolute core directive, especially for someone in that listener's extreme situation. If you want to create opportunity, if you want to change your life, you must shift your focus entirely, like 100%, onto your circle of influence.
So stop worrying about the tent, stop agonizing over the displacement.
Well, it's not that the worry isn't valid, but the source argues that focusing energy there is wasted. Every minute spent dwelling on the uncontrollables is a minute not spent developing the skill or knowledge that could eventually lead you out of that situation. Focusing on the concern circle is like paying a tax that gives you zero return. It just drains you.
Okay, that's a powerful frame. Focus only on what you can control. So how do we act within that circle of influence? That brings us to the habits, right? Specifically, habit 1.
Exactly. Habit 1, proactivity, or in the term used in the source, almubadara.
And the source says the typical translation, like to rush or to speed up, isn't quite right. It misses the depth.
Yeah, it's incomplete. The deeper definition provided is crucial. To begin and rush, yes, but to do the right and impactful thing before circumstances force you to act.
Before circumstances force you. That timing seems key.
It's everything. It's the difference between genuine progress and just reacting to survive. Acting before you're forced means you're developing, you're building momentum.
Whereas waiting until you're starving to look for food or until the tent blows away to figure out shelter.
Exactly. That's acting after you're forced. That's reactive desperation. You're just trying to catch up, often too late, and the impact is so much weaker. The source really hammers this. The difference between development and just scrambling for success is starting now, not waiting for some ideal conditions.
Because the ideal conditions.
They never come.
Yeah.
Especially not when you're starting from such a difficult place. Proactivity means creating your own conditions through action in your circle of influence.
Okay, so let's make this concrete for the listener, asking about creating opportunity, generating income. The source gives some very 21st century examples, focusing on the idea that your mind, your intellect, is your most controllable asset, right? Even if your body is in a tough spot.
Absolutely. The mind is free. Example 1 focuses on language and content creation.
Yeah.
Picture someone maybe in that tent who decides proactively to master English.
How? Using just a phone and the internet?
Yes, that's the idea. Finding tutorials, maybe on YouTube. It's a controllable act. The decision to learn, the effort put in, it focuses purely on the intellect.
Okay, but I have to ask, what about the practicalities?
Yeah.
Consistent internet, charging the phone. Those are huge hurdles for someone displaced. Does the source address that?
It's a very fair point. The source doesn't explicitly detail solving those, but implicitly, those challenges fall outside the circle of influence for the individual at that moment. You can't control the power grid or the cell signal directly.
So the focus remains on the controllable action, the commitment to learn, using every available minute when you do have access.
Precisely. You control the effort within the available means. And the potential payoff cited is, well, staggering. Using that learned English skill to create content online.
Content creation, like what?
Videos, posts, social media,
Yeah.
building an audience. The source mentions people earning what translates to over $130,000 a month, 500,000 Saudi riyals doing this.
Wow, that kind of income changes everything, regardless of where you start. It really drives home the power of investing in your mind.
It does. It shows that intellectual capital can bypass physical limitations in today's world. Example 2 is maybe even more granular.
Right, the one about monetizing social media accounts. Just using a phone and effort.
Yeah, a very clear path. The strategy: create multiple, maybe 5, 6, or 7 specialized Instagram accounts, each focused on a specific niche, like a famous singer's lyrics, a specific football player's goals, funny video clips, that sort of thing.
Okay, specialized accounts. Then what?
Then the proactive work: daily effort, posting consistently, engaging, growing them. The target mentioned is hitting 10,000 followers for each account within about 6 months.
Why 10K? Is that some magic number?
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
The source notes that hitting 10K unlocks more features, makes the account more desirable to buyers. Its value jumps.
Buyers. So the goal isn't necessarily to keep running them long term.
The specific strategy outlined is to sell them. Once an account hits that 10K mark and looks active, it has market value. The figure cited is around $1,000 per account.
So if you build up, say, 7 accounts like that in 6 months, that's $7,000.
Exactly, or around 42,000 Saudi riyals. It shows how scaling this focused mental effort can generate significant income using just readily available tools, a phone, internet access, and your own proactivity.
And it's interesting that the authors reflect on their own past inaction, right? Saying they missed out by not doing this earlier.
Yeah, they mentioned lamenting not jumping on these kinds of internet opportunities between like 2015 and 2016. It underlines that point again.
Yeah.
The cost of not being proactive is huge. The time to start is always now.
So this proactive approach isn't just about making money. It fundamentally changes how we feel, too. The source connects it directly to happiness and sadness.
It does. It argues that happiness and sadness are also choices, tied directly to which circle, concern, or influence you're focusing on mentally.
There was that anecdote comparing 2 workers.
Right, both poor, both working long, hard hours for little pay. One is miserable, always complaining, focused on the hardship, the unfairness, the circle of concern.
Okay.
The other, in the exact same circumstances, is described as always happy, joyful, finding ways to connect and be positive. The difference: their internal focus. One chose the circle of concern, the other implicitly focused on what little they could control, maybe their attitude, their interactions.
And this isn't just psychology. You mentioned it's physiological.
Yes, that's a key point in the material. When you focus on your circle of influence, set a small, achievable goal within it, and then achieve it. Learn that new word. Get those first 10 followers. Whatever it is, your brain releases dopamine.
Ah, the reward chemical.
Exactly. It's a physical, bodily response. It genuinely makes you feel pleasure, motivation, a sense of accomplishment. You are literally chemically rewarding yourself for being proactive and focusing on what you can control.
Which naturally pulls your focus away from the negativity and powerlessness of the circle of concern.
Precisely. It creates this positive feedback loop. Achieve something controllable. Feel good, motivated to achieve more. But if you stop acting, stop achieving those small wins.
You stop getting the dopamine and maybe drift back to worrying about the uncontrollable.
That seems to be the implication. Your brain defaults back to the easier, more passive state of dwelling on problems you can't fix.
The source uses a really stark example of getting stuck in that negative state, the story of the chicken man. What happened there?
It's a tragic story, used as an extreme illustration. This man experienced an overwhelming tragedy. He couldn't save his family from a house fire. An event utterly outside his control after the fact.
Devastating.
And the trauma locked him in. He couldn't shift his focus away from the loss, from the uncontrollable past event. He became trapped in grief, constantly making this clucking sound, his entire being fixated on the circle of concern.
Wow. So he became a living embodiment of being completely reactive, letting that external event totally define his internal reality.
Exactly. His focus dictated his state. It highlights the danger of allowing uncontrollable circumstances to consume your mental energy. Now, the opposite is the proactive person, and the source says you can often tell the difference just by listening to their language.
Okay, the language test. What does reactive language sound like?
It's the language of victimhood and blame. Phrases like, there's nothing I can do, I have no way out, I can't because my boss is the reason I'm stuck, the job just didn't leave me any time. See how it points outward. Blaming circumstances or other people.
Right, deflecting responsibility and proactive language.
It's focused on possibilities and personal agency. Things like, let me look for possible solutions. Okay, how can I do that? What are my options here? Or even taking responsibility for lack of preparation. I didn't learn effective time management back then. It engages the mind to find solutions, shifting from I can't to how can I. It's about learning and adapting.
This really ties back to the idea of choice and action determining feelings. There was that final anecdote from Covey's seminar about marriage.
Yes, powerful one. A man complains to Covey, says, the feeling of love for my wife is just gone. He feels powerless because the feeling isn't there.
And Covey's advice was,
Deceptively simple. Love her.
just love her, even without the feeling.
Exactly. The man protested, but I'm telling you, the feeling isn't there. And Covey delivered the punchline, the core distinction. Love is a verb. It's an action. The feeling of love is the result of the action.
Whoa. Okay, so don't wait for the feeling. Do the action and the feeling will follow.
Precisely. It flips the script entirely. You don't need motivation before you act. You generate motivation by acting. The source listed the actions of love Covey suggested. Serve her. Sacrifice for her. Listen to her. Empathize. Appreciate her. Care for her.
These are all controllable actions within the circle of influence.
Exactly. Perform those actions consistently, and the feeling of love, the source argues, will naturally return as a result. You control the actions generate the feelings. This applies just as much to creating opportunity in a tent as it does to reviving a marriage.
That's the essential truth then. Our mental models, our choice of focus, combined with proactive action on controllable things, that's what creates change, no matter how dire the circumstances. It brings possibility even from rock bottom.
And the source apparently mentions that the chicken man, that man locked in grief, eventually shifted his focus. Over less than 25 years, by applying these principles, he went from that state to accumulating significant wealth, millions in assets.
An incredible transformation, illustrating the power of shifting focus from concern to influence and acting proactively.
So, for you listening, especially if you're in a tough spot, like the person who inspired this deep dive, the first actionable step, based directly on this material.
Get some paper.
Yes. Grab paper, grab a pen, or open a notes app. Write down only the circumstances in your life right now that you believe you can control. Even tiny things. Ignore the huge list of things you can't change today.
Just the circle of influence list.
Just that. And then put that list somewhere you'll see it every single day. Your tent wall, your phone background, whatever. Let it be a constant reminder, this is where your energy goes. This is where you act.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. If exploring the ideas in just one source, like the one we discussed today, can open up paths to change your mindset, maybe even your financial situation.
Yeah, imagine the possibilities if you commit to absorbing the knowledge from 10 sources. Or 100. What could that continuous investment in your own mind, your primary controllable asset, unlock for you? That proactive choice to learn is always available.